Chris Lefebvre. Really excited to be here. Thank you so much. I'd like to start by acknowledging that we're on unceded Duwamish territories and wish them the best of luck in gaining federal recognition. Just a quick question for everybody here, show of hands. How many people here have any idea who I am or what I'm doing here? 1, 2, 3, 4. That's way more than I thought. That's way more. That's, wow, thank you. So a little bit about me. I'm a huge nerd that loves gaming and is extremely passionate about this industry. I'm really nervous, and I'm going to try to talk slower than my heart's beating. I've been in the business for a couple years. So I got my start. I was living in a small town in northern Vancouver Island called Courtenay. At the time, I was in online retail, and I saw a post a friend had placed on Facebook about a game developer in town who was working on his upcoming Kickstarter campaign. I watched the videos, this adorable 2D arcade game called Cosmocoria, and I just felt compelled to reach out to see what I could do to help. I'm not a game developer, but I do have skill sets in biz dev and marketing, and so in helping him with his Kickstarter campaign, we were able to hit 250% of our Kickstarter goal. It's selling well on Steam now, and now Nate, that developer, is working with Jason at PopCap on a new game called Slayway Camp, which you can check out on Congregate, and is also coming out premium on Steam Halloween weekend. Having been bitten by the video game industry bug, I then moved to Victoria. I took a job in user acquisition, managing a lot of free-to-play games online, your Gaijins, Wargamings, Riots, and the like. Really just committed to adding as much value and managing those campaigns as I can. And having landed in Victoria, I not only had the chance to start working more in the industry, but also got to see what was happening in Victoria. And there's quite a bit there, much like Seattle, which has a very vibrant community. And so began volunteering with the IGDA, which I'm now the chapter leader for there, supporting game developers and organizing events. We have our own game jam coming up at the end of October as well, Orchid Jam, which I'm happy to talk about with anyone afterwards. I also work as an advisor and a judge for the Casual Games Association's Indie Prize, which is an international scholarship competition for independent game developers. Sees over 1,500 submissions every year for 4 contests held around the world, and really happy to be a part of that. There's just so much happening. So many innovative works being put together. For the last couple of years, I've been in the monetization space, and again, largely just focused on the value that I can add to game developers and the hard work that they do, which is why I'm really excited to be with Appodeal now, because there isn't a mediation product like it on the market, and honestly, it adds more value to your work than anything else. I think that's quite enough about me. I'm actually kind of curious to know a little bit more about you and who I'm talking to. So quick show of hands, how many people here are game developers or work at game studios? That's a healthy mix. And how many people here would be service providers to those studios, so providing investment, publishing, UA, monetization? Okay, yeah, good mix, awesome. Most of the ones that are on their computers working. I think that the composition of this room and that we're all here together is indicative of the industry that we're in and the challenges that we face. And we're going to hear a lot of great presentations, much like the one that we just heard, that are going to give you a lot of hard data and a lot of tactics on how to succeed in this industry and how to address the challenges that we all collectively face. But what I'm hoping I can do is just take a step back and think about how we, basically construct a lens with which we view those tactics and view this data that we're going to hear today, because there's a lot of great information. Before I forget, let me just grab my clicker. Rovio, did you take it with you? Sorry about that. I basically want us all to come to the understanding that we're in this together. And what we're in is possibly one of the fastest paced industries in entertainment history. It's moving so rapidly. Studio closures happen all the time. Consolidation happens all the time. And we need to remain as innovative and as fast paced as we can with it, otherwise we risk being left behind, which as a nerd who loves video games, I don't want to see happen. We do face sort of 3 main challenges once an app comes to market. And of course, there's a whole host of challenges that developers face bringing an app to market. But I want to focus on the challenges that we collectively face together and look at ways that we can collaborate to remain innovative. And so, of course, those 3 main challenges are user acquisition, user retention, and monetization. But I think underneath that, we see that there can be sort of a recurring theme, which, when understood properly, will show how more collaboration between us will actually help us remain innovative. So let's dig in. I'm going to work chronologically through these challenges from an app goes to market, because not only does it make logical sense, but it also greatly assuages my obsessive compulsiveness. So user acquisition is obviously a massive challenge that we all face, or app discovery, as is a term that is more commonly used amongst independent game developers. But let's think about that term discovery. Ask yourself, what to you does discovery mean? For me, it means finding something new. And we know that discovery is a problem because there are thousands of apps released on the App Store every week, and it's incredibly likely that no matter how good your game is, it's going to get lost in the shuffle. But is it new? Is it unique? Is it untouched? I hope so. But I think through more inter-industry collaboration, we can help achieve that, because as service providers, we're constantly exploring the market, constantly. And so we understand what's being done, what's not being done, what works, what intriguing new game mechanics we've seen, what genre combinations are possible out there. And so by opening yourself up into more inter-industry collaboration, you're going to increase the likelihood of creating an app that is even worthy of a term like discovery. But of course, the more established studios are inherently in a competitive space of user acquisition, which in my opinion is more of a inherently backwards-facing and inherently competitive space. There are only so many eyeballs on so many devices for so many hours a day. And while that number is massive and growing constantly, it's finite by its very nature. And so how can we introduce more inter-industry collaboration to innovate and remain innovative in the realm of user acquisition? And this is an area in which I'm really excited to be working with Appodeal. Is that the button? There we go. Sorry. Because this is a product that can provide developers and studios the tools they need to know what they're getting before they get it. Through our insights and segments, we're able to provide you a breakdown of ad revenue per user cohort. And not only that, but we can alter the serving rules of ads to a user to help amplify that revenue even further. So we're providing you more than any other mediation tool out there in terms of ammunition and balancing that constant struggle of LTV and CPI. So that brings us to user retention, or as I like to think of it, user engagement. So again, to me, the term user engagement is inherently more collaborative and inherently more forward-facing because you're interacting with your users. There's a dialogue taking place, and you become to understand what they want from your game. Now, the benefits of a strong user engagement strategy are immense. And I think there are some really good examples even in this room. Not only can you engage with your users to the point where you might see some user-submitted content help you free up your resources from that content treadmill that you're locked into. Oh, is this all on click? Oh. There's some more stuff on Insights. That was supposed to be automatic. My apologies. Those are some of the data points we collect. That's some of that and that. Great. So not only is a collaborative engagement strategy encourage better retention because you're in a conversation with your users, but it can provide ample benefits on top of that. It can you'll see user submitted content, and I think a really good example would be Vancouver's Orbital 9, who's here in the room with us today. Their game Brain It On has loads of user submitted content. Or Victoria's Canoe Apps with their social game Freerider coming out onto mobile soon. Super fun game. Tons of user-submitted content. And of course, when a user submits content, I know for myself, if I make a level, I'm going to challenge my friends to beat it. And so you're contributing to a positive, interactive, collaborative retention strategy by encouraging more of an engagement mindset. Not only that, but an engagement mindset will help you with your acquisition and your discovery, because we know that the #1 source of installs is being recommended a game, and we know that the #2 source of installs is seeing somebody play a game, and then an App Store feature, and then somewhere below that, advertisement. So it's incredibly important not only to engage your users to make your app the best it can be, but also to acquire more users. But again, when you scale and you enter that competitive space, you have to retain your users. You've taken something and now you have to keep it, and like a liquid your hands are trying to hold, you have to prevent it from leaving. And we know that the challenges of user retention are massive. We know that approximately 1/3 of your users are gone day 1, and then by day 30 you have maybe 3 to 5% left. It's incredibly challenging. And so how can we as service providers, and how can we as service provide you the tools that you need in order to retain your users for longer? And of course, another great benefit of Appodeal is that it provides you the opportunity to cross-promote your apps and thus create an app ecosystem, not losing them to another user's app, but to one of your own, and you can continue to monetize on them. So, because if you're really, really good at understanding your users, and if you've properly engaged them, you know not only what they want from a single game, but from your next. And if you're extremely good at engaging your users, and I think companies like Concrete Software are really good at this and their work with brands, but you can run direct deals. And another great value out of Appodeals, which I'm really, really excited to be able to tell you about, is that we'll never take a cut of that revenue. That's 100% yours. And so, understand your users, understand what kind of shoes they like, or what kind of pop they drink, or what kind of music they want to listen to, or whatever fits with your game, and bring that brand content in and keep that revenue. Which is, of course, an important part of monetization, is revenue. It's the number one most important thing. So I actually have an inter-industry collaborative exercise that I'd like us to just try real quick. It'll just take a couple seconds. So I think you can see the theme that I'm working with here. We have discovery and acquisition. We have engagement. And we have retention. But I, for the life of me, could not think of a word that balances what, in my mind, is monetization's inherent sort of afterthought. You have something and you have to monetize it. So open floor, anybody in the room, who here has a term we can use to reflect a more collaborative, sort of open, forward-thinking, style of monetization, inter-industry collaboration? Anybody? No bad ideas, people. Anyone? Come on, this is a room full of innovators. I'm sure we can coin a term together. You got one?
Jimmy.
No?
No?
I'm shocked, honestly, guys. I allocated at least 5 minutes of discussion time for us. So I'll have to fill that up with, more background on me, I guess. Well, that's too bad. I thought we could coin a term together, but maybe not. I toss around a couple, but it's hard, honestly. Monetization, we're all glued to it. I was thinking value generation. I want the idea to be we create value from nothing rather than try to add money to something. So think on it later. We got a couple days to chat, and we can figure something out together. But again, the idea of that word that we'll one day, discover and ideally adopt is that monetization shouldn't be an afterthought. You can't complain about not making enough money off your game if you released it, nobody plays it, and you just jam a bunch of ads in on app launch or between levels. It has to be a conscientious plan from the very onset. And this is, again, where working across lines with your industry partners is important, because with things like insights and segments, we have the tools to know what works and what doesn't. And while you know your game really well, and while you know what's worked for your friends' games really well, there might be something new out there that you're not trying, or advice that you're not taking, and you're going to risk being left behind by, again, this extremely fast-paced industry. But again, monetization is an inherently competitive space, and so you need to do it intelligently. And how do you do it intelligently? How do you compete in an innovative fashion? And this is, of course, one of the things that I'm most excited about Appodeal, is that not only are you getting one SDK that provides you worldwide fill, not only are you getting one SDK that provides you with all of your necessary ad formats, not only are you getting one SDK that provides you with all integrated advertisers under a single account and a single platform, but rather than relying on backwards-facing historical data or predictive algorithms, we're actually pitting these advertisers together in real-time competition and ensuring that you only receive the maximum price for your ad request on a per-impression basis. So no other partner is doing this, and certainly not as well as us. Not only that, but of course, revenue is the number one thing about monetization. It's all well and good that you have all this convenience, but what about money at the end of the day? And so one thing that we're doing at Appodeal that our technology does for you is not only consolidates all this and saves you all this time so that you can then properly engage your users or properly have time to dedicate towards making a unique app or a unique twist on your app, but we're generating you more revenue through our technology where we combat second place bidding. So a lot of times what happens in programmatic or any type of automatic bidding process, you have your $10 bid and your $3 bid. And of course the $10 bid wins, it's the winning bid. But it only has to beat that second price. And that's not fair to you, because that $10 eCPM bid is fair market value. And that's exactly what you deserve, is fair market value for all your hard work. And so rather than allowing this $3 bid to be the second price that the first place price has to beat, try saying that 10 times fast, Appodeal's technology participates in that bid in ensuring that the minimums increase on a per impression basis, earning you fair market value or more for your impression every single time around the world on every ad format. So this went a little bit faster than I had originally thought it would, but this is essentially the message that I want to convey to all of you, is that we need to find ways to innovate the inherently necessary competitive elements of our business to provide us with more time. And nothing's going to provide you with more time than Appodeal's tool. We streamline every aspect of your monetization strategy into a single account and platform. And with that time, you can properly engage your users to increase your retention and understand better what they need from your next app and cross-promote them into your entire app ecosystem. And with all that time, with those retained users and that understanding, and by working with your partners across industry lines, you'll be able to actually dedicate time to creating the next big app. which is what I want for all of us, because this is an extremely fast-paced industry. We see how quickly companies can come and go and how quickly apps can rise and fall. And as a nerd who loves gaming, I sincerely want the best for all of you. So please, go into those meetings and those talks and to the parties especially and around the floor and think about ways you can collaborate, not compete. Thank you so much. My name is Chris Lefebvre.
Awesome. Any questions for Chris? We have one right down here.
Behind you.
Okay, so as a game developer, I would love to be able to integrate ads directly into the worlds that we create. So like, imagine like dystopian future or something like that, and you have a television there, and it's like, word from our sponsors, and then it's like Coke. Maybe not dystopian. That probably wouldn't blend well with your brand, but yeah, is there a way that you guys could like facilitate that, where you could have like a video texture somewhere in the world, like a billboard or something like that? Because I know they do that with like Forza. They have billboards that are dynamic based on actual brands.
And are you referring to like also like sort of like hyper like location targeting or whatever, like beacons and stuff like that? So that you pass the billboard and then you see it on your phone, or what do you mean?
Well, no, like in a game. So you have a. So like let's say Call of Duty or something like that. Everyone loves that game. Lol. And so you have like a billboard in like a destroyed town or something like that, and it could actually be Coke or Pepsi or something like that. But then you could even like integrate like damage onto the surface and everything. I know that's negotiating with brands, but
yeah, definitely. I'm not 100% sure, and I don't really want to give you half an answer. So why don't I check and we chat after?
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I know we have native ads, but I'm not sure if they texture over in-game objects or not. But yeah, definitely happy to talk more about that afterwards. Anybody else?
Cool. Any other questions? Awesome. Thank you very much, Chris.
Cool. Thank you so much, guys. Come to Foundation tonight. It's a lot of fun.
All right, so we have a break now till 12:05. So after 12:05, we're splitting into this room, and there'll be another room. So in here after the break, we have a presentation from Big Fish, a presentation from the CEO of Game Insight around global markets, and then another great panel around China and user-generated content and community from Join Me, Perfect World, and Yuku. So yeah, we'll see you after the break. And there's food and coffee stuff out to the left.